promise you, I'm not turning into a news channel. But I felt obligated. I felt like I had to talk about everything that's going on with Black Clover currently, because I think it's a pretty big deal and I think it's pretty important. I know this video is going to attract probably two different types of audience. People that love, respect, and appreciate Black Clover and the author Yuki Tabata, and then the people that dog on it, people that hate it, the people that dislike it, make fun of it, etc. It's undeniable that Black Clover has been a punching bag for the community for many, many years. And while no series should ever have to be a punching bag, now is probably the most important time ever to try and weasel it out. To really step back and have a look at the difficulties that these authors actually go through and how weekly Shonen Jump as a formula, as a business module, is really not as successful as you think. It may be successful financially, but when it comes to fulfillment, enjoyment, and overall health of the authors and the people that are working on these stories, it's not sustainable. And it's rapidly declining, and all of these massive things that we haven't seen in 20, 30 plus odd years is now starting to become more common. However you feel about Black Clover is up to you, but at least try and be understanding towards the difficulties that Tabata and other authors currently go through, because they're all in the exact same position. Some are better off than others, but it's still difficult. If you haven't seen, Black Clover has left Weekly Shonen Jump. This is a story that has been around since, I believe, the beginning of 2015. That is 8 years, a very long time to write a story. 360, 70 odd chapters. Rather successful. It has an anime, it has a movie, it has a lot of things going for it. So seeing it leave Weekly Shonen Jump has nothing to do with success, nothing to do with sales, nothing to do with how popular it is or in comparison to something else. They would keep it there because it does make them money, it is successful, and it does have a big community. It has left for arguably the best reason possible, at least we hope. It has left Weekly Shonen Jump for Jump Giga, which is a sister magazine for Weekly Shonen Jump. This isn't technically a place where a lot of stories get published. This is a very small issued story, meaning that it doesn't release a physical magazine all too often, 4 times, sometimes 3 times a year. That's basically 1 chapter every 3 months. The reason for this low number is because the idea or design of this magazine was mostly for one-shots, short stories, spin-offs from Weekly Shonen Jump's lineup, alongside bonus promotional material, posters, stickers, bonus chapters, etc., right? Leave a like and subscribe or I'll find out where you live. There's been a lot of speculation why it's moved here, but the one that is very clear, just based on Yuki Tabata's history and how very open he is as an individual and as an author to his community, to his fans, is that he's tired. His health has not been the best, but also his family's health hasn't been the best. He's been rather vocal about this. He has a young daughter, he has a loving wife, so his family is currently dealing with these difficulties, and running a weekly story within there is borderline impossible. Your wife is extremely sick, your child may be sick, you yourself are struggling, trying to keep up with these deadlines, trying to handle the business, trying to handle house responsibilities and parental responsibilities. It is overwhelming. This is probably something he doesn't want to do, but I have so much respect for him to make this decision. This would undoubtedly kill a lot of stories. They wouldn't survive this transfer. I hope that it continues to thrive. It may not be a story that I'm into, but seeing the honesty of Yuki Tabata, how he talks to his fans, how he talks about himself, his life, his difficulties. He's expressed very often how tiring and stressful writing a weekly story is, but he's very proud of his accomplishments. He's very proud of where he is today, but then it never seems like it's his sole priority. For me, what I see is his priority being his family, his child, and his wife. That's what comes first. So that massive decision to jump magazines is very respectful. Deep down, I am kind of happy that the company that is Jump and the weekly Shonen Jump kind of structure business-wise has allowed him to actually do it. So Black Clover no longer in Jump. It's in Jump Giga, and it may only get 3 to 4 chapters a year, albeit those chapters may be a little bit beefier, depending on how he's feeling it. I'm sure he's going to put his all into that because it seems like it's coming into the end of his story. So you'll probably get big, lengthy, well thought out chapters that are beautifully drawn, obviously while he's trying to balance his personal life. There is some problems here, some glaring issues, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because I feel like this is just the beginning. Over the recent years, I've noticed this change within Weekly Shonen Jump, and while the small amount of it really good when it comes to respecting the author's health and allowing them breaks and flexibility, it's nearly not enough. And it raises this very interesting question. does it even matter now, today of all days, that weekly Shonen Jump stories are still a thing? Not even Shonen Jump, just weekly stories, weekly manga. Do they even need to be a thing? Is the price of fame, success, and money worth that massive decline in health and potentially even your love and passion for the industry, for artwork? That's the real question. This has been a formula of success for many, many years. It's been glorified to be the Hollywood version of manga. If you wanted to make it, if you wanted to be something within the industry for the past 30 years, Weekly Shonen Jump has been the place to eye off. That's the place to go. You want to be anything with yourself, you want to have a career of manga and artistry and storytelling, Weekly Shonen Jump. This is no longer the case. They had a monopoly on the industry. You wouldn't want to go anywhere else, you wanted to go here because all the big stories were here, all the big money makers were here, all the big famous people were here, and they sacrificed so much for it. But as technology moves forward, as the world changes and evolves with time, this is no longer the case. Weekly Shonen Jump is no longer this pinnacle, this height of fame and success that you need to be a part of to make it within the industry. Here is proof that the magazine doesn't have to be weekly, and it doesn't even have to be physical. Spy Family, Kaiju number 8, Chainsaw Man Part 2, and one of my favorites, which I feel like is a massive spit towards the industry, Choujin X by Sue Yoshida. The Spy Family is a funny thing to talk about because its success quite literally devalues the entirety of what Weekly Shonen Jump is known for. They pride themselves on the physical weekly release. It has to be physical. It has to be drawn physically. Small error of time where the transition to digital artwork was kind of oddly frowned upon. Spy Family has thrown that away entirely. A story that is not weekly, a story that does not follow the Shonen Jump module of success when it comes to storytelling, as well as not even being released physically. It is only a digital manga, and mind you, it was one of the earliest only digital mangas to be released on a brand new platform. It has broken records, it has outsold some of the most iconic stories of all time, and it is undoubtedly a successful mammoth IP, both from manga sales to anime to merchandise, etc. That one story is proof in itself that they can make it without Weekly Shonen Jump, that the stories don't have to be that. And then you have something like Choujin X, which is a story that is the furthest thing from what Weekly Shonen Jump represents. Choujin X is a story done by Sue Yoshida, the author of Tokyo Ghoul. He knows that weekly struggle. He done the seinen version of it, Weekly Young Jump. Choujin X and its creation is entirely, completely free. They have put him within a magazine, albeit not in the front spotlight, to allow him to create a chapter whenever he wants, at whatever length he wants. So there's no schedule at all. It's not a weekly, it's not a bi-weekly, it's not a monthly. It's quite literally whenever he does the chapter. There is not many stories that do this. Not many authors get the opportunity to do this. So when I see that Weekly Shonen Jump are allowing Black Clover to jump over to Jump Giga, I'm impressed and I'm happy, but I'm also concerned that they're not really seeing the bigger picture and that they're still kind of refusing, or at least maybe hanging on to this old classical way that is rapidly becoming outdated. They can make money, they can still be respectful to the culture, they can still have this love and passion for manga creation, but at the end of the day, if your authors aren't happy, if they aren't healthy, if they're pushing themselves to their limit just to create a fraction of a chapter every week, it's going to break. Undoubtedly, it's going to crumble and devour itself. Now, I know you can probably think of a pretty simple solution. Why don't they just give breaks to the authors? Like Kaizen had a pretty massive break. I think Black Clover also had a pretty big break. Same with Oda, he publishes 3 chapters a month technically. Why can't they just continue to do that? I ask myself that same question every single week. When I see that a chapter is partially incomplete, or another author comments saying that they're so tired and stressed out, or something to do with Horikoshi because he seems incredibly desperate to take a breather and just relax for a moment, but maybe he can't find the strength in himself to do it, he might be very prideful, or the company itself isn't pushing the idea hard enough. But every time I see it, it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Almost like they want to give this idea of freedom to them and allow them to take it, but if they abuse it, if they do it a little bit too much, then it becomes a problem. And that's where I feel like things get lost in translation. Things get lost in our ideas of what this company represents, what these stories represent, everything, right? Because we don't know if that's true or not. We know that some authors take a break here and there. Only as of recent years have they had massive month-long breaks like Black Clover, like Kaizen, etc. But it's not all too often. Almost like they have to build up up their PTO, which again, their business relies on the health of their authors. So not to give them breathers or breaks, or not pushing the idea enough to them that it is okay to take breaks. Hell, if they even actually thought about it for a moment, they could rotate stories around each other. These handfuls go here, and then next week they take a break, so then we release these handful, and then those handfuls take a break the week after, etc. You see what I mean? Like, there is ways to get around their formula. There's ways to provide a healthier work schedule. There's a way to keep your business operating close to that level. I could see this becoming potentially a pattern. And if it doesn't become a pattern, maybe it's because a lot of other authors are going to Jump Plus, which is part of their company, mind you. So they know exactly what authors want. They know exactly how to handle it, but it's just the DNA of Weekly Shonen Jump, where it comes from, and they refuse to kind of push those boundaries open. At least that's just from my perspective. I don't understand the Japanese culture. I don't want to step on their toes and tell them to do this, that, third, etc., even though it may sound like it. At the end of the day, everyone just cares about the health of authors, and clearly something isn't clicking. Something's not working. So maybe they should look into it. Maybe they should try and change it.